Listen to me. Talent is cute. Talent is flashy. Talent looks good on the gram. Talent wins you compliments. But discipline wins championships. Discipline builds empire. Discipline builds empires. Discipline shows up when talent hits snooze. Talent can be impressive. It turns heads. It draws applause. It opens doors that others may never get a chance to knock on. Talent gives people a head start, a spotlight, a moment where the world watches with awe and says, that person was born for this. But here's the problem. Talent alone is never enough. The world is full of people who had all the gifts, all the natural ability, all the potential in the world, but they never went anywhere. Why? Because they didn't have the one thing that makes all the difference: discipline. Getting in the room is one thing, staying there is another. Talent may get you noticed, it may win you opportunities, it may even get you a seat at the table. But the question is, can you stay there when things get hard? Can you stay when the lights go off, when no one's clapping anymore, when you're no longer the exciting new thing? That's when discipline kicks in. Discipline is what keeps you showing up. Day after day, when the rush of excitement has faded and all that's left is the work. The world is filled with stories of wasted talent. Athletes who never reached their potential, artists who never completed their projects, students who never fulfilled their promise. They started strong. They were better than everyone else in the beginning, but they never developed the internal structure, the routine, the mental toughness it takes to stay consistent. And in the long run, talent without consistency gets outpaced by discipline every single time. When you rely on talent alone, you become a slave to your emotions. You work hard when you feel good. You show up when it's convenient. You perform when the conditions are right. But life doesn't play fair. It throws curveballs. It gets messy. Some days you wake up tired, unmotivated, overwhelmed. If all you got is talent, you'll fall apart on those days. Because talent is a spark, not a fire. It doesn't sustain you when things get dark. Discipline does. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's not interested in excuses or distractions. It doesn't wait for the perfect mood, the ideal situation, or the cheery crowd. Discipline says, I made a commitment, I've got a standard, and I'm going to meet it no matter what. That's why the disciplined person, even if they start with less talent, often ends up doing more, becoming more, achieving more, because they know how to keep showing up. They know how to do the work, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when it seems like it's not paying off. When you've got discipline, you don't just rely on what you're good at. You stretch, you grow, you push past your comfort zone. You improve in areas you're weak in because you're not attached to just a looking good or feeling talented. You're focused on becoming better, brick by brick, layer by layer. Talent often leads to arrogance, this belief that you've got it all figured out. But discipline brings humility. Discipline knows there's always work to be done, always another level to reach, always room to sharpen your edge. In any competitive field, talent may give you an advantage in the early rounds. But as you rise, the competition gets fiercer. Everyone at the top has talent. Everyone is skilled. That's where the real separation begins. The ones who keep evolving, who keep performing, who don't buckle under pressure, those are the ones who built the muscles of discipline. It's what keeps them sharp when others get lazy. It's what drives them to train when no one's watching. It's what fuels their preparation, their attention to detail, their unwillingness to settle. People often say success is about being in the right place at the right time. But even if you get in the right room with the right people at the right moment, if you're not ready, if you're not disciplined, that moment will pass you by. You'll fumble it, you'll fall short, and someone else, maybe less gifted but more prepared, more focused, more consistent, they'll take that opportunity and run with it. Getting in the room takes a flash. Stand there takes fire, a steady, controlled, relentless fire. And that's discipline. Motivation is powerful, no doubt about it. It gets your heart pumping. It gives you energy, makes you feel unstoppable, gives you that adrenaline rush to chase your goals. It's the reason people start something new. A business idea, a fitness plan, a dream. Motivation can push you to lace up your shoes, open that book, sign up for the course, or take that first scary step. But the problem with motivation is simple. It fades. It wears off. It disappears when life gets heavy, when your energy dips, when your circumstances change. Motivation is seasonal. It's emotional. Anything built on emotion will crumble under pressure. Discipline, on the other hand, is not about how you feel. It's about what you decide. Discipline doesn't need you to be in the mood. It doesn't ask for inspiration or approval. It works in silence behind the scenes while everyone else is waiting to feel right. While the motivated crowd is riding emotional highs and lows, the disciplined ones are clocking in day after day. No matter the weather, no matter the mood, no matter the applause. That's the difference. Discipline doesn't depend on hype. It's built on habit. When someone says they're not motivated, what they're really saying is, I don't feel like it right now. And that's fair. No one feels like grinding all the time. No one wakes up every single day excited to work through the pain, the boredom, the setbacks. But this is where most people get it wrong. They wait for motivation to come back before they take action. They wait to feel good before they move again. And in that waiting period, progress dies. Growth dies. Goals fade. Discipline flips the script. It says, I don't care if I feel like it. I do it anyway. It doesn't negotiate with emotions. It doesn't argue with doubt. Discipline knows that feelings are temporary, but progress is permanent. Every rep you do when you're tired, every task you finish when you're stressed, every hour you put in when your mind is screaming to stop. Those are the moments that separate you from the crowd. That's when you're not just building results, you're building resilience. You're creating something stronger than motivation ever could. Think about every elite performer in the world. Athletes, artists, leaders, entrepreneurs, sure they have passion, sure they have moments of excitement and fire. But what keeps them on top is not motivation. It's the grind they commit to when the fire dies down. It's the schedule they follow when no one's watching. It's the discipline to train, to study, to practice, even when their mind tells them to rest. They understand something most people miss. Motivation is a great starting point, but it's a terrible foundation. If your success depends on motivation, you'll always be inconsistent. Some days you'll crush it. Other days you'll crumble. But discipline removes that uncertainty. Discipline shows up every day like it's Monday. The truth is your emotions are liars. They'll tell you to quit when you're almost there. They'll say to take a break when you need to push harder. They'll say you skip today because it's rainy, because you're tired, because you're not in the zone. But discipline doesn't fall for those lies. Discipline stays locked in on the goal. It's mechanical, methodical, unshakable. It shows up when motivation hits the snooze button. It puts in work while others are negotiating with their comfort zones. This is where greatness is formed, not in the highs of motivation, but in the lows where discipline takes over. When it's 5 a.m. and your bed is warm, but your goals are calling. When it's week 6 of your new habit and the excitement is gone, but the mission remains. When the crowd is gone, the noise is silent, and all that's left is you and your will to keep going. That's where the gap is created. Yoki. The motivated may start strong, but the disciplined finish strong because they don't rely on excitement. They rely on execution. You can't trust motivation to carry you through storms. It wasn't built for that. It's a spark, not a torch. But discipline is the flame that keeps burning when everything else goes dark. It's the engine that doesn't stall. It's the driver that doesn't flinch. That's why the most successful people in the world schedule their lives around systems, not moods. They understand that passion without structure is chaos. They know that if you wait to feel like it, you'll never get anything meaningful done. Discipline gives them the power to rise above that noise and move with purpose, not with emotion. In a world that's addicted to instant results and shiny highlights, consistency might not seem exciting, but it's the one thing that separates the truly successful from everyone else. Flash catches attention. It goes viral. It gets likes, shares, applause. Flash makes people say, oh, wow, in the moment. It's dramatic. It's fast. But here's the truth that most people don't want to admit. Flash fades. It burns bright for a second, then it's gone. It's the spark that excites the crowd for a moment and disappears just as quickly. Flash is temporary, but consistency, that's power. That's the slow burn. That's what builds legacy brick by brick, day after day, long after the hype has died down. Consistency doesn't shout. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need validation. Consistency is quiet, almost invisible at times. It looks like doing the same thing over and over again until you master it. It looks like showing up when you don't feel like it. It looks like progress so small that no one else notices, but you know you're getting better. While others are chasing the next trend or waiting for the next moment of brilliance, the consistent ones are building something solid, something that lasts. People love to admire those overnight success stories, but what they don't see is the decade of quiet, unseen, uncelebrated work behind the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the thousands of repetitions. That's consistency. It's not sexy. It doesn't make headlines, but it wins always, because when everyone else burns out or gives up, the consistent one keeps going. They're still there, still grinding, still improving, still stacking days. Flash is emotional. It's based on how things look and how they feel. It performs when the spotlight is on. But consistency shows up in the dark. It trains when no one's clapping. It works when no one's watching, and it doesn't care if the mood is right. It only cares if the job gets done. That's the kind of mindset that builds champions, not the ones who show up once in a while and impress people, but the ones who never stop showing up, even when no one's impressed. The consistent person may not have the biggest breakthrough on day one. They may not win the applause early on, but give them time. Watch what happens when you take small committed actions every single day for a year, for 5 years. For 10, suddenly that person becomes unstoppable. Not because they did something amazing once, but because they did something good every day until it became great. That's how real progress happens. Not through one giant leap, but through a million small steps, taken with discipline and focus. Consistency builds momentum. It turns effort into habit. It turns habit into identity. The more you do something, the easier it becomes to keep doing it. You stop negotiating with yourself. Without it, talent and motivation are fragile. With it, they become unstoppable forces. Consider athletes who train for years before ever competing on the world stage. Most people only see their performance during competitions, but discipline is what fuels those countless hours of practice, repetition, and sacrifice away from the crowd. It's the early mornings, the strict diets, the relentless drills. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's essential, and it's invisible to the casual observer. Without that invisible commitment, the athlete wouldn't make it to the spotlight at all. The same principle applies in every field. Writers who finish books don't just write when inspiration strikes. They write consistently, often alone, often doubting, often struggling. Entrepreneurs who build successful businesses don't just hustle when things are exciting. They grind through setbacks and quiet moments of uncertainty. Musicians don't only practice when they feel like it. They put in hours behind closed doors, far from any applause. Discipline creates a rhythm in your life that's independent of external factors. It builds habits that become automatic, so you don't have to rely on mood or circumstance. When discipline is strong, showing up becomes a non-negotiable, not a choice. You don't ask yourself if you feel like doing the work. You just do it because that's what you've committed to. This mindset creates freedom because it removes the power that temporary feelings have over your actions. This is why so many people struggle with consistency. They depend on external validation or motivation to push them through. When the praise stops or the excitement fades, they lose momentum. Discipline guards against this by anchoring your progress to something deeper, a personal standard, a commitment to your goals, a sense of responsibility to yourself. In this way, discipline is a quiet force that builds champions. It teaches patience and resilience. It trains you to trust the process, even when it feels thankless. It reminds you that success is less about moments of glory and more about thousands of unseen moments of dedication. Most importantly, discipline strengthens your character. It develops mental toughness and self-respect. When you know you put in the work consistently, regardless of recognition, you build confidence that doesn't depend on others' approval. You become your own biggest supporter and toughest critic. You learn to rely on your inner drive rather than external applause. In the end, discipline is the backbone of sustained achievement. It's the hidden muscle that powers dreams into reality. It works quietly, persistently, faithfully, long after the crowds have left and the spotlight has dimmed. Talent and hard work alone can only take you so far. When the stakes get higher and the competition fiercer, what separates the winners from the rest is preparation. Preparation is the secret weapon that turns potential into performance, that transforms talent into lasting success. It's what the most successful people invest in daily, even when no one else is watching. Preparation means more than just showing up. It means showing up ready, mentally, physically, emotionally equipped to handle whatever challenges come your way. Preparation is about building a foundation before the game even starts. It's practicing when you don't feel like it, studying when you're tired, reviewing your weaknesses, and sharpening your strengths. It's about putting in the time to understand the details, to anticipate obstacles, and to develop strategies that keep you ahead. This level of readiness doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent effort, discipline, and a mindset focused on excellence rather than shortcuts or excuses. People often underestimate preparation because it's invisible. It's not glamorous. It's not the highlight reel. It's the early morning spent running drills, the late night spent reading and learning, the countless hours of repetition that nobody notices. But this unseen work is the bedrock of success. When opportunity knocks, those who have prepared are the ones who answer confidently and perform without hesitation. Those who haven't prepared scramble, stumble, and often miss their chance. Preparation builds confidence. When you know you've done the work, you don't walk into situations with fear or doubt. You walk in knowing you're ready, that you have the skills and knowledge to handle whatever comes your way. This confidence isn't arrogance. It's a quiet assurance that comes from knowing you put in the hours when no one else did. Confidence fuels performance, and performance opens doors. Beyond skill building, preparation also sharpens your mindset. It teaches you to be proactive rather than reactive. Instead of waiting for problems to arise and scrambling to fix them, preparation equips you to anticipate issues and prevent them before they happen. This forward-thinking approach gives you a huge advantage because it allows you to stay in control, to remain calm under pressure, and to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. Preparation also requires humility. It means acknowledging that no matter how talented or experienced you are, there's always more to learn. It means accepting feedback, facing your weaknesses head on, and putting in the effort to improve continually. The prepared person is never complacent. They understand that resting on talent or past success is a recipe for failure. Instead, they commit to lifelong learning and growth, knowing that preparation is an ongoing process. When others rely on luck or hope, the prepared rely on discipline and strategy. They don't leave their success to chance. They build routines, set clear goals, and follow through with the necessary steps to reach those goals. Preparation turns abstract dreams into concrete plans and plans into action. It creates a roadmap that guides you through uncertainty and keeps you focused on what matters most. In competitive environment, preparation is what creates separation. When everyone has talent and motivation, it's preparation that gives you the edge. It's the difference between performing well and performing exceptionally. It's the reason why some people rise to the occasion while others falter. Because those who prepare don't just react to circumstances, they shape them. They take control of their destiny instead of leaving it to fate. Preparation also builds resilience. When setbacks happen, and they will, the prepared person is ready to adapt and recover. Because they have invested time and energy into their craft, they can handle failure without losing momentum. They view obstacles as opportunities to learn and improve rather than reasons to quit. This mindset is crucial for long-term success because the journey is never smooth. Preparation equips you with the tools to persevere. Ultimately, preparation is a form of respect. Respect for yourself, your goals, and the opportunities you want to seize. It shows that you value the chance to succeed enough to do the work ahead of time. It proves you're serious about your ambition and willing to put in what it takes. This attitude separates those who talk about success from those who live it. The beauty of preparation is that it's within your control. You can't always control talent, luck, or circumstances, but you can control how much you prepare. You can decide to invest in yourself every day, to study, practice, and plan, even when it's difficult or boring. And over time, those choices compound. They turn into skill, mastery, and results. They turn potential into performance. They turn dreams into reality.